The City of Rochester's Office of Energy and Sustainability is hard at work every day making our community a model for innovative, ecologically sustainable operations, policies, and practices, helping to reduce costs and create a healthier, more livable city while conserving natural resources. Joining us to tell us more is Ann Spaulding, Manager of Environmental Quality, and Melissa Chanthalangsy, Energy and Sustainability Analyst at the City of Rochester. Thanks, ladies, for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
When did the city really start focusing on energy and sustainability?
So we started at the city really back in 2006. There was a green team that was formed, an internal team that started talking about energy and sustainability issues at the city. From there, we really started working hard on projects when the Stimulus Act provided us with lots of funding to do projects. The Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program gave us about $2 million to do specific projects within the City of Rochester, focusing on energy and sustainability.
And how does your office prioritize projects and initiatives? How do you decide what to do?
One of the projects that we did out of that funding that I just mentioned was a greenhouse gas inventory. So the greenhouse gas inventory measured our emissions and told us really where most of our energy was being used, and it helped us focus and prioritize those projects.
And Melissa, what is your role as an analyst?
So I start looking at the data in terms of the energy we use in our buildings in the city, and see which buildings are problem areas where we need to go in and make that building more energy efficient.
How many buildings does the City of Rochester have?
We have up to 88 and a little more, I think.
We have about 88 that we follow closely through Portfolio Manager. The city owns many more buildings, obviously, but city facilities, we have about 88.
What are some of the new projects that you guys have been working on? We've got a lot happening.
We do. We have right now, we're partnering with the Rochester Electric Vehicle Accelerator, which is a community engagement piece to educate the community on the benefits of electric vehicles in order to promote clean transportation moving forward in the future. We're also working on our climate action plan. So we brought together stakeholders, and we're working on implementing some of the actions in our climate action plan.
Now, for electric vehicles, I know that there are charging stations already throughout the city. How are those being received, and are they being used to your liking?
Yes, so when we installed the charging stations, we put them in 7 locations. There's 24 charging ports right now, basically plugs. And when we put them in, we weren't really sure what the utilization rate would be, but they're networked so we can see their usage. And they've been steadily increasing over the 4 years, almost 4 years that they've been installed. And they're also tracked by NYSERDA, and NYSERDA has told us that they have the highest utilization rate in upstate New York, so basically outside of the New York City area. We have the highest usage rate.
And so I know we have some right at City Hall, and then I'm really excited about the bike share that has come to the city, and I love going outside of City Hall and seeing that bike rack empty. Tell us about that project.
So that was headed through the transportation specialist, Eric Frisch, and I know that he worked with Zaxter to bring it to life, and they obviously carefully chose the locations to know where exactly to put the bike racks from place to place, to know like where people were going to go, and I think it's been a successful program so far.
Yeah.
What are some of the benefits of riding a bike instead
well,
of a car?
obviously you save fuel, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which we really like in our office. It's great exercise. It gets people out. It's good for their health. It creates a more vibrant community with different transportation choices.
And I know the young people love it too, because it's...
And old people.
Oh, my bad.
Everybody
Don't want to
loves
discriminate. Don't want to discriminate, for sure.
I really love the green roof at City Hall. So what exactly is a green roof? What's the function of that?
So a green roof is actually a stormwater management tool. So the green roof is designed to take stormwater that normally would just fall on an impervious surface and go into the storm drain and need to be treated, or else go directly into a body of water. So the green roof slows down the rate of stormwater discharge to reduce overflows of stormwater into the Genesee River.
And so speaking of surfaces, also at City Hall we have the permeable parking lot that's collecting water. How does that work?
So,
Well, that really works in a similar way. It absorbs the water rather than having it run off into the storm system. It slows down the rate of the water entering the storm sewer system to reduce overflows.
And we're getting ready to cut a ribbon on a solar field at the old Emerson landfill site. How did that project come about?
You want me to talk about it?
yeah.
So the former Emerson Street landfill obviously has gone through years of remediation because it was contaminated. It was a state Superfund site. The parcel that the solar field is on has been delisted from the New York State hazardous waste site list. So it was available for development, but there were no takers for that site. But it's a perfect site. It's wide open, sunny, to put a solar field. So we put out an RFP for solar developers to install a 2 megawatt solar field, and we selected a developer to put in the solar field. It's just about complete, as you mentioned, and it will provide most of the electricity to 2 of our city facilities, City Hall and our Operations Center on Monterey Boulevard, through remote net metering.
Okay, so I understand there's a really big savings to the city of Rochester by doing that. Is that right?
That's right. We anticipate we'll save about $2 million over the 25-year life of the solar field.
Okay. What are some things that citizens can do to help reduce their carbon footprint? I know mixed recycling recently rolled out. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things one can do. I'm just going to name maybe a few.
Okay.
One is to use reusable bags when you go grocery shopping instead of plastic bags. You can also consider riding a bike to work or walking to work if you can, or if you drive. You can consider electric vehicles. You can take the bus. Another thing you can do is be more mindful about your diet. So, for example, I consume less beef and less red meat because agriculture, in terms of raising beef, like via cows, actually produces a lot of greenhouse gas emissions because of cows producing methane.
Right.
So reducing your demand in food that has a lot of greenhouse gas emissions can be a way to contribute.
Do you want to add to that?
There are other things people can do. For example, changing the light bulbs in their houses to either compact fluorescent lights or even better LED lights. The cost of LED lighting has come down quite a bit over the last few years. And in fact, at the city, we've been doing a lot of work in replacing lighting in city buildings with LED lighting. Other things people could do is consider composting their food waste rather than tossing it in the garbage. Reducing food waste to begin with is even better.
Right.
Just like turning out your lights is even better because if you don't use it, you're not wasting it. So considering composting food waste, recycling, as you mentioned, is a great thing to do. And obviously diet choices are important, not only for greenhouse gas emissions, but for people's health.
Yeah.
So how does the city of Rochester compare to other cities of our size in terms of green initiatives?
We did a little benchmarking when we prepared our climate action plan. We looked at upstate New York cities, and as far as our greenhouse gas emissions, we're pretty similar. But looking at the things that we're doing, I think we're pretty progressive. We have a pretty robust program. I think we're the only upstate city that has an actual climate action plan right now that we're implementing. All cities are really trying to do more because we really have to. We're at the forefront. All cities are at the forefront of addressing climate change.
We also recently became Climate Smart Community certified via New York State. So we're excited about that for sure.
Absolutely. Since climate change is such a huge global issue, will these local actions taken have an impact?
Absolutely. I think the way I like to put it is like a ripple effect. So if you have a puddle and you have a raindrop coming in, that's like one person's action. but a collection, the collective individual actions is like a ripple effect in a puddle, so it absolutely does make a difference.
It raises awareness, you know, people seeing certain actions, they start taking the actions themselves. And it will, you know, to solve the global climate crisis is going to take considerable effort above and beyond what individual cities are doing, but the more people that demand those actions through actions that are taken within cities and within people's individual lives, I think make it more likely and put the pressure on the larger institutions to get that done.
So along with the Climate Action Plan, are there any big projects that you guys are working on for the future?
So we're starting to look at a little bit at climate adaptation, so looking at the effects of climate change that we know will be coming to our area, to take a look at those expected impacts and see how they might affect us, and then take that information and develop an adaptation plan, strategies, what the city can do to mitigate those impacts of climate change that are happening, like increased floods, increased temperatures, higher intensity storms, things like that.
Yeah, I would add energy efficiency is a big focus for us, because a lot of our greenhouse gas emissions come from buildings and energy usage in buildings. So looking at what we can do as a city with our local partners in order to address energy efficiency in our community.
Finally, who are some of those local partners that you guys work with?
So we've been working closely with nonprofit organizations like the Rochester People's Climate Coalition. We've been working with NeighborWorks, and we've also been working with Pathstone. Those are entities that actually work out in the community and help, you know, to do some of these projects.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for coming on today. If you'd like more information about the city's Office of Energy and Sustainability, or for more details on any of the programs and initiatives discussed today, you can check out cityofrochester.gov/energy and sustainability, or you can call 585-428-7474.